Hey guys, welcome back to Film Chat. So I've got some new additions to my Blu-ray collection to show you today. I just wanted to talk about those. So the first one up is The Social Network, starring Jesse Eisenberg as Mark Zuckerberg, about the foundation of Facebook. Now this isn't a film I wasn't actually looking to watch at any time soon because I'm not a fan of Facebook, never have been. And I don't have a Facebook account. I'm one of those small amount of people on the planet that don't have a Facebook account. There is one on there under the name of Snestastic, but it's not me, it's somebody else. So yeah, this is about the foundation of Facebook and obviously the characters involved, the people involved, Mark Zuckerberg, etc. It's an interesting film. It's really good actually. It's really well made, and the only problem I've got is actually Eisenberg himself. I don't think I'm going to be a fan of his style at all. He's very monotone and he talks quite quickly, and I just found him quite irritating for the first 15 minutes of this film. I was sitting there, couldn't quite understand what the hell he was talking about. His voice was irritating me severely, and I just thought, I don't know if I'm going to be able to get through this film. But I stuck with it, and luckily I did. It got better as the film went on. But I have since seen a film he's doing recently where he's playing twins, and he does exactly the same performance. So I don't know if that's just the Jesse Eisenberg performance, and he's not a very talented actor, or what it is, I'm not sure. But anyway, the point is, this film, The Social Network, I thought it was really good actually. It was well done. And it was interesting to see how it all came about, and the creation of Facebook, the legal battles with the two brothers who alleged that Zuckerberg stole their idea, and then obviously the fractions that come between Zuckerberg and his best friend. And it was really, it was an interesting film to watch because you find out that Zuckerberg is extreme, if it's true, and obviously you don't know how accurate it is, but if it's accurate, he's extremely intelligent and knows how to manipulate people quite easily, and he's sort of borderline arsehole, but not quite. And it's definitely, I would recommend giving it a watch because even if like me you don't have any interest in Facebook at all, and I know you're going to be in a minority if you don't, but if you don't, still watch it as a drama piece and a piece about characters. And it's just interesting to see how the website came about, how the popularity of the website grew, and it's a really, really fun film, so I'll definitely give it a shot. Right, next one up is Mission Impossible, the first one with Tom Cruise. The reason I picked this up is because I realised recently that on Blu-ray I only have Mission Impossible 3 and Mission Impossible 4 Ghost Protocol. I don't actually have 1 and 2, which I thought was odd because I thought I'd actually picked them up because initially I had them on DVD. Then when the format wars began, I was a massive HD DVD supporter, and I had the box set of the first 3 films. So I assumed that when I got onto Blu-ray and I changed over after the format war finished, that I'd actually gone and picked up 1, 2 and 3 on Blu-ray, but I hadn't. And I was like, oh. Now, I didn't pick up number 2. The reason being I don't like the film, I think it's pretty crap. And I actually think it's the weakest of the 4 by far. I watched it at the cinema and absolutely loved it at the time, but when I watched it afterwards on DVD and HD DVD, I didn't like the film at all. I thought it was just a mess. But for me personally, this is still the best Mission Impossible film. It looks very dated, obviously, because it's centred around technology as well. They talk about computers which are really old, and it's quite funny when you look at the technology in older films. But it's still a brilliant film. It's a really good spy thriller, really well written, beautiful camera work, and Tom Cruise, as always, is absolutely on point. He's just superb anyway, no matter what role he plays. I love Tom Cruise. I've seen it many a time. He's awesome. And Ethan Hunt is one of his best characters in my opinion. I really like when he does the Mission Impossible films. He's just got a natural charisma and charm, and he plays it so well. And all the supporting cast and all, Jean Reno, and I'm trying to think, Angelina Jolie's dad, I can never remember his bloody name, John Voight, that's the one. He's absolutely fantastic in this film as well. And there's Emilio Estevez in there as well. Some really, really good supporting cast around Tom Cruise. And I just love the locations, I love the story, the pacing of the movie is brilliant. I've just watched it so many times now and it's absolutely fantastic. And I love Ving Rhames. Ving Rhames for me, with Tom Cruise, is what makes the Mission Impossible films work. And I love whenever he comes into the Mission Impossible films, and their partnership, fantastic. It's just a really, really solid film. If you've never seen a Mission Impossible film, I'd be amazed if you haven't, but if you haven't, please go and watch it because it's such a good film. And obviously, ignore number 2, watch 3 and 4 because they're brilliant as well. So, next one I got was what we got. Machine Gun Preacher with Gerard Butler. This was an interesting film. I saw this when it came out, God, a couple of years back now. And I thought it was a decent film at the time, but I wanted to pick it up and watch it again. So I got it on Blu-ray, and it's a really cool film. It's basically about a guy called Sam Childers, who is a drug addict, criminal, biker. He's going down the wrong path. His life's not doing well at all, and he's been in jail. He comes out of jail, finds out his wife, who is a stripper, has quit stripping and has found God, and has got a job in a local diner. Now, Sam Childers, played by Gerard Butler, is not happy about this and wants his wife to go back to stripping. He's soon back into the old game. He's out with his friend, he's robbing drug dealers, all the usual kind of thing. And then one night something happens which changes his opinion on his lifestyle and makes him realise that he has to change because he can't continue down this path. And he ends up going to church and finding God along with his family. He becomes baptised, becomes a Christian, and when this happens, a pastor who works in Africa comes to the local town to give a speech on what he's doing in Africa and what the kind of changes they're making. And this really resonates with Sam, and he decides that he's going to go over to Africa and see what he can do to try and add to the effort and try and help these people. And it's a really, really good film, really interesting. Gerard Butler does a fantastic job of portraying Sam as a character, and just the way he makes you, obviously at first, makes him an arsehole and a criminal and a scumbag and not very likeable, and he's not very nice to his wife and his family. And then as he finds God and changes, and you see this evolution of the character, he portrays that so well, and he really sucks you in and really makes you root for the character. And when he goes to Africa and he sees the situation over there and how bad it is, and he's trying his absolute best to try and make a change and help these people, but the local warlords aren't allowing it to happen, and he keeps constantly fighting and fighting and fighting. It's an absolutely fantastic piece, and at the end of the film you get to see the real Sam Childers and his family, and it's really, really heartwarming, fantastic movie. And Gerard Butler is absolutely one of my favourite actors. He does such a good job with all of the parts he plays, and yeah, Machine Gun Preacher is definitely one you should go and watch if you haven't seen it. It's superb. So the next one I picked up, right, okay, was American Pie: The Wedding. Now the reason I picked this one up, like Mission Impossible, I thought I already had this, and I didn't. I had it on DVD, and I thought I'd still got that. I don't know what happened to that copy, so that was a bit annoying. And the reason I picked this up anyway was because the other night I was flicking the TV, and American Pie 2 was on, and I've missed about 20 minutes or so. But I thought, what, I'll give it a shot. I haven't watched this for years, and I was absolutely pissing myself laughing. I've forgotten how good that film is. It's absolutely brilliant. So then I fished out number 1 from my collection, and I was just like, these two films are absolutely classic, they're brilliant. And I thought, what, I'm going to go and get number 3, because I remember seeing that at the cinema and absolutely loving The Wedding. I thought it was really funny. How time changes. I watched this the other night, and it is not a good film at all. It's a pretty terrible film. In fact, I found it quite lacking compared to the first two. I never realised at the time how bad it actually was, but it's really cliched. The characters are just not well written. I don't feel like the actors have a lot to work with. I thought Stifler was absolutely terrible in this film. I don't know if it was being overacted or it was badly written, or it was just an absolute caricature of Stifler, which seems a bit ridiculous when you say that, but Stifler is what makes American Pie. I mean, there's some fantastic characters with Jim and Oz, but Stifler is what made it funny in the first two, and it was really toned down and it was hilarious. In the third one, he's so over the top and he just looks absolutely ridiculous, and you just want to punch him for most of the film. I did not like it at all. I thought it was a pretty poor film compared to the first two. It's a real disappointment because I loved it in the cinema. I thought it was a great film, but on rewatch, it's pretty bad. So then I found out that they made this one, American Pie: The Reunion. And initially I thought I hadn't seen this film. I wasn't aware it actually existed until I watched it on Blu-ray, and then I suddenly realised about 2 minutes into the film, I've actually seen this. So I don't know why I forgot about it. But this is absolutely brilliant. This is such a step up from number 3, and I haven't watched any of those dodgy spin-offs with like Stifler's brother and all those. I can't bother because they're not legitimate American Pie films. So forget those existed. American Pie Reunion is excellent. They bring all the cast back. Literally everybody comes back in this film at some point, and it's really well written. It's witty, it's funny. They take the piss out of Oz quite a lot, which I thought was really good. And it's just a fantastic film. And Stifler's back on form as well. He's not exaggerated. He's back to the original Stifler, and he just cracked me up so much in this film. It's just brilliant. I love the fact they've done the reunion and they've all moved on. They've all, got their lives together. They've got families, they've got kids, they've got jobs, all the usual sort of thing. But Stifler is still a big kid at heart, and he doesn't want to grow up, and I can really relate to that, and I thought it was fantastic. Yeah, American Pie Reunion, brilliant film. Please go and watch it if you haven't, because it just make you laugh a lot, and these films are just classics, except for number 3, of course. So the next one I watched was what I watched last night, and unfortunately this is the German version. Don't know how that happened. I ordered it from Amazon, not from Amazon themselves, but a seller through Amazon. Somehow I ended up with a German copy, and it actually came from Germany. I have no idea what I did now. I must have missed it when I looked. I honestly don't know. But anyway, it is the Pirates of Silicon Valley, the story of Steve Jobs and Bill Gates. And I don't know when this film came out. It's pretty old, I think, 1999. So yeah, so it only covers up until Windows and also the Apple Mac. So it is, quite far back. Excellent film, really, really interesting to watch, because I don't know much about the founding of Apple and Microsoft, so I found it absolutely fascinating watching this. Noah Wyle, who's that guy there, who's in TV show Falling Skies, brilliant show. He plays Steve Jobs, and he does an absolutely fantastic performance. Again, like the Facebook film Social Network, you don't know how accurate these films are when they're written, and a lot of it's going to be hearsay and speculation. But if an ounce of the Steve Jobs character is accurate, then what an arsehole. I would not want to work for him. I can't believe the way he treated his employees. Absolutely disgraceful, especially as he starts out at the beginning of the movie, and he's a hippie, he's into acid, and he's peace and love and all that kind of stuff. So I don't understand why he turned into such a hard ass when he actually owned a business. Yeah, shocking. And I also thought that Steve Wozniak got sidelined quite a lot, and it was, even though according to the film, Wozniak wasn't looking for fame and celebrity, and he was just doing it because he enjoyed doing it. I don't think if that was the way it went down, it was right that he got sidelined as much as he did, because he was the brains behind the outfit. Steve Jobs is, he's your car salesman, he's your charisma guy, Wozniak's the brains. A real shame. And I found it interesting watching the Microsoft section as well, because Bill Gates, if that's how Bill Gates was when he was younger, I thought Bill Gates was awesome. He's like such a super cool, slick bullshitter, can manipulate people. And that sounds really terrible when you say that, but it's the way he does it, the way he makes people believe they're getting what they want when they're not. Actually, Bill's getting what he wants, and it's just so brilliant to watch. Absolutely fantastic. I didn't like the way they portrayed Steve Ballmer. I know in the press, when you read stories about Steve Ballmer and the way he acts in real life, he's a bit of a buffoon. But I thought they really made him look like a dumb jock in this film. And I don't know if that is the way he is in real life, but I didn't like it. I thought it was pretty cartoonish, and I didn't think it would be accurate to the real person, because at the end of the day, Steve Ballmer comes across as a bit of a lunatic sometimes when you watch him in press conferences and things. But he's got to have a brain. He wouldn't be in the position he's in if he didn't have a brain. I don't believe for 1 minute that he rode the coattails of Bill Gates through the whole of Microsoft's history until this point. It makes no sense to me that could happen. But other than that, excellent film. As I say, it doesn't cover the whole history of Microsoft and Apple, but it's a really good film, well worth watching. The only reason I actually picked this up, I'd never heard of the film before, but I have been watching a lot of Greg Miller from IGN. He's got his own channel on YouTube, and I've been watching a lot of Game Over Greggy show, and also a conversation with Colin, with his roommate Colin Moriarty. And in one of the conversations with Colin, they mentioned this film, and I was like, oh, I'll have a look at that. So I didn't even look at a trailer or anything, I just picked it up because I thought it'd be interesting. Really glad I did. So if you've never watched The Pirates of Silicon Valley and you're interested in Microsoft and Apple, give it a shot. Absolutely fantastic. It reaffirmed for me that Apple are an evil company, so that was quite good. I don't care if people disagree with me, I don't like Apple at all. Apple and Facebook are Satan to me. But yeah, there you go. So those are the films I've been watching recently. I've got a couple more to watch, and I'll probably pick some more up as well at some point, and then I'll do another film chat and talk about those. Thank you very much for watching this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, please give it a thumbs up. And also, of course, if you want to see more film chat videos, or if you'd like to see any more of the content on my channel regarding the gaming side of things, please click on the subscribe button and leave your comments down below as well. Let me know what you thought about any of those films if you've seen them. I want to hear what you thought about those. So thank you very much for watching, guys. See you all again soon.